Last year, a hopeful recording artist played some of his music for his father who was dying. Had his dad lived a little longer, he would have seen his son's record hit #1 around the globe. Details coming up.
The hits from coast to coast.
This is Ed McMann sitting in for Kasem. These are the hottest hits in the USA. Jumping in at number 28, here's this week's highest debut. It's a song that recently went #1 all across Europe. Here's Lou Bega with Mambo #5.
Jump up and down and move it all around. Shake your hand to the sound, put your hands on the ground.
The hits from coast to coast.
And that means we're up to the #1 song in the USA, a song performed by a man who makes a fashion statement with his spats, Borsalino hats, and pencil-thin mustache. The song he sings is this year's Macarena, the dance hit of 1999. It's become a monster hit abroad as well, reaching #1 in 15 countries. The success of the song has inspired a lot of fans to sign up for mambo lessons, and it's also inspired a lot of fans to start dressing in the retro style of the man who sings the song. The singer dresses like someone out of a Carmen Miranda movie from the 40s. His mustache is trimmed to the thinnest of pencil lines. He wears cream-colored linen suits like the ones Humphrey Bogart wore in the movie Casablanca. He wears spats, those white mud guards that fit over the tops of shoes, and he wears an old-fashioned Borsalino, the wide-brimmed hats you see in old gangster movies. His fans have picked up that style, showing up at his shows dressed just like him. Though the singer points out that for him, this isn't just a costume. He says, quote, "I wore spats and Borsalino hats before I started singing. You want to make an impression," unquote. And this week, the man in the Borsalino is making a big impression right here on the pop chart with a song that once again is the biggest hit in the land. The #1 song in the USA on American Top 40 for the third week in a row is Mambo #5 by the stylish Lou Bega.
For Kasem, I'm Ed McMann, and that means we're up to the #1 song in the USA. It's by a newcomer with a retro attitude towards music, fashion, and romance. This musician didn't just bring back the 50s dance style called mambo. He brought it back to the top of the chart. And when it comes to romance, he says he's got his rules, and he sticks to them. He says that the first rule is that you've got to look good. Quote, "The first thing people see is your outside," which is why he's always dressed to kill when he leaves the house. You never know where you'll find romance. Another rule is that you've got to choose the right music to set the mood. Quote, "I like old classic music, like songs by Marvin Gaye. I wouldn't put on rock, techno, or rap," unquote. And he's a big believer in the grand gesture, like the time he rented a large walk-in tent and set it up in the forest. When he let his date there was a candlelight dinner waiting for her. Now, that's romantic. This believer in the power of romance is also a believer in the power of music from a half-century ago. Music that this week keeps him glued to the top of the chart. The #1 song in the USA on American Top 40 for the fourth week in a row is Mambo #5 by Lou Bega.
Top 40.
For Kasem, I'm Ed McMann. We're counting down the 40 biggest hits in the 50 states. Now we're up to a former #1 for Lou Bega, a singer who says his dream is to go everywhere in the world, and he carries a notebook with him to keep track of how he's doing. Lou Bega is 24 years old, and he says he's been doing some serious traveling since his teens. He's been all over Europe. He's traveled throughout the Middle East. He's been to Africa, North America, and South America. He's even passed through Asia. Lou says that not long ago, he saw a documentary about a man who set out to visit every country on Earth, and after 3 decades, he had almost managed it. This performer says he loved that idea, and he decided he wanted to do it as well. So, he bought a notebook and made a list of all the countries, which he updates regularly. And every time he gets to someplace new, he puts a check next to it. He figures that not only will he eventually visit every country, he's going to perform his music in every country as well. Music like this huge hit that recently went all the way to number 1. In at number 12 this week, here's the world traveler Lou Bega with Mambo number 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
These are the biggest hits by the hottest stars. Now, last year, a hopeful recording artist played some of his music for his father who was dying. Had his dad lived a little longer, he would have seen his son's record hit number 1 around the globe. Talk about a bittersweet moment. It wasn't that long ago that Lou visited his 53-year-old father, David Lou Bega Sr., in the hospital where bit by bit cancer was taking his life. Lou had just finished a song that he was sure was going to be a hit and would make him a star, and he played it for his dad on a small tape recorder he brought with him to the hospital. Lou's father listened carefully. Then he turned to his youngest son and he told him, quote, "Oh man, this is going to open your doors." 3 weeks later, Lou's father was gone, but he was able to die knowing that his son was heading for the top. And he was right. The song Mambo number 5 went to number 1 all around the world, opening many doors for the singer. This week, Lou's follow-up climbs 3 notches to number 23 on American Top 40. Here's Lou Bega with Tricky Tricky.
She likes bars, she likes diamonds too.
On AT40, that's German-born Lou Bega with Tricky Tricky. This week, the song rises from number 26 to 23. I'm Casey Kasem. The hits don't stop till we reach the top.
Amen.